6:02, Randy is calling the Art Public Places meeting to order. Cindy's going to be our secretary.
Does anyone need a paper agenda?
We do, thank you.
Sue Bolton, we need to vote you at the top. So you don't have to say the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But we will maybe go round robin because we do have a guest.
Do it all.
Then
let's do roll call first. So present is Susan, Carlos, Nettie, Iris, Laurel, Cindy, Jennifer, Teresa, Danielle, Randy, and that is it.
and guest Sue Bolton.
Yes. So that's number 3.
Oh, sorry. So missing is
Stephanie,
Laura and Melanie.
Pamela.
And Pamela. And Pam, where's Pam?
Oh, that was it. Pam, Laura, Stephanie, and Michelle now. Cha-cha.
13, yeah, that's right.
So.
No, that's right. We do have quorum, yes.
So Pam, Laura, Stephanie.
And Melanie Nesky. That makes 13, that's us.
Got that?
Okay.
Cindy, you got
Melanie.
Melanie.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
All right. Moving on to agenda item number 3, we have a public invited to be heard. Sue.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us what brings you to Art Public Places today?
I'm sorry, tell them what?
Introduce yourself and let us know why you're here.
Oh, okay. I'm Sue Bolton. I've been involved with Longmont Sister Cities ever since it started. And partway through the process of selecting an art installation, art for installation, I got onto that committee. And so I've been meeting with Susan and Angela and other members of our public places to determine which art piece we are going with, and I think that process is still ongoing right now. We had some marvelous things submitted, and we kind of got it down to 2. As you probably already know, there's some difficulties because everything has to fit into risk management and the park system. And so nothing is finalized yet.
Perfect. Well, welcome.
You actually had 3 minutes to speak and you have 2 more minutes.
I want to fill those. I hate to take up all your time. It looks like you have a large agenda.
So you're just here to listen in and see how it operates?
Yes, and I'd like to, see where the process goes from here, because it really was not finalized. Didn't you agree, Susan?
All right. Well, luckily, it's on the agenda. Great. Okay. Thank you, Sue. Yeah, the light comer.
Hello. How are you, Melanie?
Good.
Good. Come on, sit on down. And if you don't mind, make a new meeting. So, both sides, if you please. All right.
So you know you're on. Okay, number 4, approving July 21st, 2022 minutes. So you want to have any
Correction.
Okay. Hit me.
It's the minutes, not the agenda.
Oh, boogers, are you serious? Got it? Yep.
Everything else looked pretty good. Oh, actually, I just looked down and saw something.
Okay.
Under spoke, last sentence.
Yep.
It's Susan second, not Sue.
Got it. Okay.
All right, any more proof or any more edits to minutes? All right, does everyone accept these?
So we need a motion.
Yes, we did. Would someone like to make a motion to accept these?
I move that we approve the minutes
Okay, Laurel,
of
Well, we've only done one.
Oh, we've only done one.
Okay.
July 21st.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Iris seconds. All in favor of this minute correction? Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Let's talk about now approval of August meeting minutes. But first, are there any corrections?
First off, it's Mary's on agenda.
Thank you.
Second off, I believe Nettie spells her name Nettie.
That's correct.
Not Netty.
Okay.
Under shock art,
Yes.
it was a little unclear in these minutes what we determined. The moving forward winners will be excluded from entering next year. The motion was clear, but if an artist wins in 1 year on, year off.
Okay, I need to
It
clean
was-
up the,
yeah.
I need to clean up the verbiage.
And also, at the very last sentence on the first page, legible is spelled Legible.
You should always be the same. Okay.
Pamela's here.
And that's all.
Hey,
I'm
Pamela,
so sorry.
you're fine. Right, spell legible correctly. How ironic. And make it legible.
Where is this legible?
It's on the very bottom of the first page.
Okay,
Legible.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Will do. All right.
All right, any more?
It's up there. How you modify it. Oh, see.
Any more modifications to August 18th minutes? All right, do I have a motion to accept the changes?
Who moved? I did, I moved that we
Laura,
accept the August 18th minutes with corrections.
Thank you.
Any seconds?
second.
Any seconds? Any, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Let's talk about any additions to the current agenda.
I do have one, please. We are going to add a new business item B, concrete on 4th.
Business be what?
15, new business, add item B, concrete on 4th, probably 4th Street. I think it's Street.
On floor.
That's where Firehouse is, right? Yes. Yeah, 4th. Okay,
Any more additions?
that's the only addition. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Number 7, council update. Chiquita.
Which, hey, Chiquita! Can I steal this? Come on down. That was impressive. All right, you are up. Just in time.
Really? That was great.
I know. We're moving right up. Oh, I moved you all the way up. We had talked about this previously in your absence to, because you're so busy all of the time, to move you to the beginning of the meeting so that you,
Oh, okay.
hopefully with your schedule, then you need to be more cognizant of your time because you're so busy.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Well, there's a lot going on
Still.
I will say that the downtown Colorado, I think, Inc., had a lot of municipalities come together today. And we did a tour, well, I didn't go to Boulder, but they did a tour of downtown, like Pearl Street, Boulder, and then Longmont. And so art in public places was represented. And everyone thought that, you know, our breezeways, our walkways and everything was really cool. And the art and everything that we have, everyone loved it. So just want to let you know that people appreciated all the good work from other municipalities across Colorado. We had people from all over. So that happened today. So we did that little tour thing, and people were just saying how cute Longmont is and downtown, and some people are like, I never bring my kids. I'm coming to Longmont downtown to bring my family here, and
Nice.
I was like, yeah, you're missing out. So, that's what happened today. What else do you all want to know? Anything you want to know from me doesn't mean I have the answer, but I can attempt and maybe lie a little bit, but.
I have one comment.
Sure.
Thank you so much for the plug on the Long Monster. That was awesome.
Oh, I was like, I hope Angela don't kill me because I probably said something wrong.
No, it was perfect. It was awesome. It was fantastic. So if you all don't and have not seen, our own Justin Beach does seasonally, so I think twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, his own version of like, he tries to be Jimmy Carson, he tries to be so funny. Sometimes he's funny and sometimes
He's not.
he laughs at himself.
Yes.
But he gives it a good all. So Shakita was on his last show, and I will send you the link. But his first, I think, impromptu question, right, was, hey, so Art in Public Places is pretty sweet, and you're the city council liaison. Tell me about that. And so, totally off the cuff, Shakita throws down, hey, if you want to participate in your community, here's tons of ways to do it. Just did a new mural, and there's room on the board, and just like nailed it, and it was fantastic. So, thank you. Yeah.
And this is the only board I mentioned. He actually asked me, what did I like? I think one of the things, boards that I like being on, and I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Or a couple other ones. I haven't been here lately, but doesn't mean I'm not watching you.
So I will send that link to everyone. But yeah, so thank you for that. Awesome.
Any other questions for me or comments?
Okay. Thank you for the work you do. It's a lot. Yeah. And thank you for supporting the Art in Public Places budget, which is coming around. So it's budget season, if you all don't know.
I will say the mayor wanted for me to plug in, I don't know if I did it already, but under the walkway, the bike and the walkways, like over there, over where you go under.
Yep.
She wants to see art.
Yeah. So
in
in that
those
box
areas.
over,
Yeah,
it gets hit with graffiti a lot. So,
a lot, I know.
So, which we will get there in this agenda, but Ninth and Alpine has been a real trick for us. And so once we get that finished up and put the graffiti sealant on it and feel comfortable putting art that it can continue to be maintained and not get completely ruined, then that's the next one. But until we know that we can keep it maintained, we could invest artwork in that space, but I think we're dancing with that a little bit. But I know it's in Rhythm on the River's pathway, so it's highly visible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, we visited today we visited the sugar mill. So I got to go in there today. Tons of graffiti.
Full hazmat suit?
It should have been, certainly should have had them on really, but
It's packed with asbestos.
I know, nothing but, like,
Yeah.
hanging down from the pipes and everything, but, I didn't touch anything. But, graffiti throughout the entire sugar mill.
Inside.
Inside. Not really that much out, but definitely inside, on all 3 floors.
Wow.
They say some of the floors have some pretty cool art.
Yeah.
up
I was
in
gonna
there.
say, they're good.
Yeah, so, I don't know, but that's something, for the future to really be thinking about. They're getting ready, hopefully by the end of the year, get ready to start cleaning up the sugar mill, which will be between $10 to $30 million to be able to do. And that's, the city first have to annex that property because it's county property. For those of you, that's things, see, stuff like that I'm learning being on city council, like, we're in Longmont, what are you talking about, right? But the county owns a lot of property within the city of Longmont, and so a lot of times people think that, ask why we can't make these decisions because we don't own that land. And so, although we use our resources, our taxpayer money with our police officers when people call the police, when they see people out there. So it's our officers that go out there, and so those are our resources, right? But it's county land. So that's why it's important for us to annex it into the city, because we're using our resources anyway to take care of it.
Is the county gonna pay to clean it up?
Well, I think it's the developer, and they're trying to, also, Tony Chacon is going to, apply for certain grants with the city, not with the city, with the states and federal grants. I forgot the title of the grants, but it has something to do with environmental, their environmental grants. But of course, it's not up to $10 million. So they are looking into trying to apply for more grant money and see where the money is and the environmental money for that project. And of course, it will be housing on their property as well. And we will be able to walk to Main Street, downtown Longmont from there. They really wanted, the developer really wanted to use the greenway mostly for bikes and walkway to go downtown. That's what I learned today, yes.
So the last time I was following this, there was a grant proposal to write the plan for the remediation. So we're still at that point, right?
Yes.
So there first will be the plan to remediate before we even step foot to any remediation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we still have consultants and we have so much stuff going on with that property. But meanwhile, they're still looking at how is it going to be funded, right? So, so they can be ready to go when that time comes. Yeah. But, I mean, that's more great opportunities for us. Especially if we're gonna use the greenway and the walkway. How can we maybe even have something on the walkway and, you know, for kids when they're on their bikes and make it cute and colorful and things like that too, all the way to it's like follow the yellow brick road to downtown, you know, something like that.
It'll be, and starting with those projects early on, even in the developer stage and even in the planning stage, is when we can utilize our dollars, of course, to the max, because they're integrated, as we've been speaking about for a long time. So, and some of those projects, frankly, are coming up, not that one, but we'll get more practice in these integrating projects, right? Awesome.
I have a question that I'm not sure what the right question is. This project, it's done by a developer, but is that considered capital improvements? Would we get money from that?
I mean, I can't speak to exactly what that would be, but very likely. And look at Kim, I mean, very likely there would be a CIP construction project in the STEM or STEAM.
Yeah, I don't think
Just-
it's developed enough to know the answer to the question yet, but Angela's right. I think very likely there will be state dollars that are enough being spent on that project. And if that's the case, then there will be money comes to create.
Yeah. I mean, imagine a bridge, like, that's all it takes, is, something with the St. Frank Greenway alone, right? Yeah, think infrastructure.
Yeah.
Roads, sidewalks, you know, all of those can create pretty large CIP projects. Oh,
Anything else?
thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to agenda item number 8, the Sister Cities Project Update, Cindy and/or Susan.
Do you want me to give just a quick little state of the state before we go forward? Okay, so state of the state. In August, the selection panel for the Sister Cities project met and saw the 3 finalists do in-person proposals. Those in-person proposals happened and artworks came back, and the selection panel voted on 2 projects, one as a primary and one as an alternate. Then those 2 different projects went through what in our policy and procedure is called the Internal Review Committee, which means City Attorney's Office, which means the Parks Department, which means, of course, I look at it, and also Risk Management. And they came back with their changes. The primary park proposal that was selected had significant changes because of its size, because of the way that it deviated from the scope of the original call for entry, and also, and most importantly, because it frankly is attractive to client. And so the city attorney gave me the list of requirements, Risk Management gave me the list of requirements, and the Parks Department said, that's fine, but this artwork in the state that it will become cannot be in this location. It's going to have to move 10 feet over and into another bed. So then the selection panel came back together and said, we understand that the city attorney and the city, basically, I'm just gonna say the city from now on, right? Encompassing all of those folks. The city has different requirements. We would like the artist to do a redesign, and we are giving them a deadline so that redesign could get through the Internal Review Committee again and be here for you this evening. So we have that. In addition to that, so that's the primary artist, in addition to that is the secondary alternate artist. There were two very minor changes to be made there, one for safety and climbing, and one because the selection panel had an opinion of, and you'll see it in a minute, that there is an entryway into it, but they also kind of wanted an exit to make it a little more conducive to the space itself. So let's start by looking at the space really quickly, and then I will answer questions before we look into these redesigns. So, one of these days I'm gonna get the computer. This is Flanders Park. It's in the northern part of the city, northwestern part of the city. That is McIntosh Lake. That is the northeastern, I guess if you will, corner of McIntosh. And this pink dot is the site that was originally selected for this artwork as it was written in the scope of work. This little triangular bed here, which right now is full of Russian sage, and we will have to do some remediation, I guess, to the plant life there, but it will have to be removed, but will then be replanted. This is the alternate site for the first artist, okay? Does everybody know about where I'm talking? Great. This is a look from the site to the kind of south and west. These are the Twin Peaks right here. And it's this lawn turf space that was the original location. And then this bed here is the alternate location, okay? And just to get a little more clarity into what that bed looks like, that's, so the McIntosh Lake is to your left. This is a walkway that goes back into that neighborhood. This is the bed we're speaking of. So here, there it is, kind of coming from a frontal view. So that would be looking like north. And that is the look if you came kind of around, because this walkway goes around this piece of turf, if you will. That's the view that you will see of the Twin Peaks. So again, not far from the original, but enough that it, you know, it's not you. It's not the original. Okay. We won't go deep into what the original artwork looked like. Do we need to? I mean, it doesn't. It really is a moot point, right? So this is the redesign for the primary work. So, and these are the kinds of technical drawings, and you know, we always learn lessons, right? And this is mine, is that I need to specify that these kinds of technical drawings are required to submit. This is what we should have seen in the first place, but needless to say. So this is the work now. It is let's start from the bottom up. So the way that it is mounted is a concrete caisson that goes 36 inches into the ground. It's a fairly significant amount of concrete work. It sticks up about 6 inches, and then its hardware holds into what is a stainless steel steel tube that then has some sort of connection to the aluminum sheeting, which is clad with the mosaic on top of that. It's 2 feet 3 inches. The largest section of the column is 2 feet 3 inches, and at its shortest width, doesn't specify here exactly. I know it does somewhere, but anyway, it's probably about half of that, right? Okay. So do you know what we're talking about? We're talking about a kind of a cube, rectangular looking column, and then on top of the column is the sculpture, and the sculpture is 2 flat silhouettes, I suppose is the way to say it, and then they are flush mounted together, so they're sandwiched together, and then there's a structure on the inside. No, so it's not in the round. That's a very good question, though. That's very valid. Yeah. So here is the best image that I can tell you of. You know, from front and back, it's this wide, right? It's not going to have negative space. You won't be able to see through it. So there'll be some sort of overlapping piece there. I imagine also clad with that mosaic that'll go over the top. But it really is kind of a, what's that?
But you're not sure.
It will, that's a specification we can get into, but it's certainly not in detail.
It's not open.
But so it is kind of a right and left. And then, and Pamela, I'm going to get to in just a second, because I may answer your question. So then along each side, so the 4 sides of the columns have these different messages, and the messaging is also in that same mosaic, so very, very colorful mosaic on all sides. And let me show you what that's going to look like if I didn't close the thing.
That's the last one. Yeah.
It's all right. Oh, no, wait, you're right, technical drawings, it's this one. I think it's this here. Yes. So these are obviously the sculpture, right, that are mounted on the top. Height is 5 feet. The column itself is 8 feet, which will include the bump out from the ground to the first step, I guess if you will, the 6-inch step of the concrete and then the hardware. So the column itself is 7.5 plus a little bit. So the whole entire thing is over 14 feet tall. And then these are the messages that will be on each of the sides. So to give you an idea of what that would look like.
Wow.
Okay? So quite a bit different from the original, but certainly has elements of the original. I can say that we did, the artist had a fairly significant task to bring it to what the city had asked for, and he did comply, of course, to make the concessions that we were asking for. He also successfully brought in the language component that would have likely been left out otherwise, so it did serve him that way. So that is that. Should we talk about this, or should we look at the other first?
Can I just ask?
Yes.
Is that going to have a compañeros? Is that going to have a tilde on the end, or?
He's fluent speaker, so I'm sure that whatever and however it is spelled will be accurate, but we certainly will have it cross-checked. Good point. Yeah.
So the city was not worried about somebody throwing up the rope?
Nope. Nope. The concessions that he has made fit the standard document for what is called an attractive nuisance nudging. Means likely to climb by a young person. Okay. So selection panel, I'm looking at you. So should we discuss this, or should we look at our alternate?
Let's look at the alternate,
Okay.
and I'll discuss what task force
Okay.
was recommending.
Okay. Because where we are, according to the city attorney's office in this process, is that we have successfully, according to our policies and procedures. We have successfully spoken to the selection panel at large sufficiently. So the recommendation, the last portion to go to a contract is the recommendation from the task force to this body approves the next steps, and then we start the contracting phase of this. Okay, yes?
I just am trying to envision it, and can you tell me what the lettering and the coloring is on the aluminum?
Yeah.
You said mosaic, but.
Yes. Okay, if you get motion sickness from me scrolling, it's time to close your eyes.
Is it like anodized or? It's tiled.
There you go. That's the best example of what it is. So it's a high fire tile process.
So that stands out from the aluminum piece.
Yes, the aluminum is so the aluminum is the base, and then there's the mortar, and then there is the mosaic cladding, and the clad does not protrude. So to say that it's as smooth as a mosaic can be, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't have elevation, right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, good question. Okay. Okay. So without, well, I guess I should show. So the alternate then is this pavilion. And the concessions that had to be made, so it's got, benches, and the concession that had to be made that was the preference of the selection panel is that it in fact is open on both sides. So that green seat is now open, in fact, and the concrete that would be poured as a sidewalk would go from both sides of the sidewalk that's in existence. It would come into the turf, meet the gazebo, be flush for ADA compliance with the turf, or with the concrete base that this gazebo is then mounted on. And the other piece was that from the seat to any arm hold where someone could grab on and climb and swing has to be that magical 7.5 feet tall. So this piece is now going to be taller. So let me show you. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, I'd say, but obviously just for scale, you can see here how much taller it will be. And obviously now open on both sides. So this is the alternate, yes.
And this is the one that had the ball on the top of it?
Yes.
Okay.
So more like a gazebo, but now, of course, with an entry and an exit. All right, so with that, both of these redesigns again have gone through the city, and so here we are for the task force.
So, I wanted to start by saying this whole process with sister cities has been quite a learning experience. Long time delays, pandemics, sites that weren't really sites that then got moved. And I think another learning opportunity that's been presented to us through this, through your particular project, that maybe we can, and Angela would know the ins and outs of this, but would be that after a selection panel possibly made 2 or 3 recommendations, the top 2 or 3, however, whatever it came down to, that internal review would possibly, then it would be sent off to internal review before we said boom, bada, boom, bang. And then that way we would know the risks involved, the modifications involved, the ins and outs, instead of after the fact. And that might be an opportunity to rethink procedures while it's just another learning opportunity. Cindy and I have talked about it, Cindy being on the task force with me, and our recommendation as AIPP task force was that that we go with Jody's. And a couple of the reasons being that we felt like and maybe I'm speaking not PC on this, but the wow factor of Mario's kind of dissipated from what it was to what it would have to be, only because he's following the guidelines now of what internal review said had to happen with it. And so that left a different aspect of his art that was not what we saw in the original selection then. We felt like Jody's kept the same site and didn't move it anywhere, so we liked that because it's a great grassy area that the public and sister cities was able to use without it being in a crosswalk per se, and people could bring chairs and whatever if they had, whatever events they were having, where you have to remember the whole thing on Jody's is only 10 feet across. So it's not like this, where you're going to come inside in 10 feet. So, but we just, after discussing it, felt like because of those ideas, and I don't want to demean or bring down any of Mario's. The efforts were incredible that they both had, that he particularly had to do in this. But with it being 2D, it really created more of, was it just a sign? Was it just a marker? It wasn't that unbelievable wow factor that happened at first. So again, a learning opportunity there that maybe we need to think through in procedures, or when we see something come through like that, go, ooh, let's put brakes on and we've got to do this part first. And I don't know procedurally how that would work. So our motion would be that AIPP, that the task force on AIPP would recommend that we go ahead and move forward with Jody's. I think her timeline was a little more, was quicker than Mario's was going to be, if I recall it right from what she said. But in that motion that we want to allow the selection panel to come back together, reconvene to. No.
Well,
between the votes.
What we're recommending is that the artwork originally chosen, through no fault of the artist,
Right.
is significantly different from what the task force voted on. Significantly. It's not a big, huge goose, it's a little, it's still 5 feet tall, but it's a little thin signpost. What we're recommending, therefore, is that the AIPP Commission vote to approve the gazebo, the butterfly pavilion, as the artwork for this project.
so I think then, it's definitely a discussion point.
I really have to agree with Susan that the original piece that Mario did, it was a wow factor. I mean, if you came down into Flanders Park and saw what he created, if it had been a movie set, it would have been great, because you couldn't help but notice it was just fantastic. But the practicality of trying to have that there, it's it's not possible because of risk management and everything. And so he had to change it from this giant goose butterfly into something totally different. It's kind of off to the side. I agree, it's more like a signpost. That's not to say that we didn't love what he created. It was,
Right.
it was really impressive.
The original was 14 feet, the entire piece was 14 feet. So if that gives you, it's a third, the sculpture itself is a third of the size.
There was no pedestal or anything, it was just, you'd come down there and you'd see this giant goose, with butterfly wings, which, got the idea of people coming from Mexico or butterflies coming from Mexico and everybody migrating from one place to the other. The original ask for an art piece, because we thought it was going to be in a new park where there are no trees or anything, we were asking for a shade, some kind of shade sculpture anyway, and it didn't fit that at all. But as he pointed out, there are other places where people can sit in shade, and we could even have all the kids. We have a bunch of kids that come from Japan and Mexico at the same time, and we're now having some of the kids come from the reservation too. So we have quite a large group, and they can easily meet in the pavilion that's already there. But this art piece would still be something that we could gravitate to, and other people could also use it for a meeting place, conversation place. And the gazebo, or the piece that Jody came up with, really fits what was originally asked for anyway. So they're two completely different art pieces, and I just think that Mario's, because it had to be altered so much, it's no longer what I saw in the first place. Tina.
So, since I missed all of the pre-work, so the meaning, so what is the meaning or the interpretation of the gazebo or butterfly? And also, I think I just heard you say the butter is a goose with, what did you say? Well, I just want to know what the meaning of the two art sculptures are. What does that mean?
Oh, okay. I think we had asked artists to come up with something that would represent our exchange with Mexico. And because monarch butterflies do migrate from Mexico to Colorado, that was why butterfly was a symbol of the exchange.
So here is the call for the artists when they were given so the selection panel went through a number of applications and narrowed it down to these three. And upon receiving word that their qualifications had moved on for consideration to create the site-specific proposal, this is what they were given. And so from the very beginning, even when someone was supplying their qualifications, this is what they had read. And so seeking a Colorado artist or artist team proficient in the creation of site-specific sculpture to serve as shady gathering space to celebrate the 25 years of Sister Cities partnership between Guzman, Mexico, and Colorado, Longmont, Colorado. Then talking about the exchange, the space overlooking kind of our symbols of the Fox Peak and Eager. And then, sorry if you get motion sickness, close your eyes. We included, of course, the Sister Cities points that come from their mission statement, so municipal cooperation, leadership, etc. And then, don't look, oops, I pass it. There it is. Community bonding and history. So all of the artists were to consider when they were creating their proposals. Community bonding and history of sister cities, relationships, social impact, culture, reflecting the past, the present, and the future, the connection and access of course borders and transformation, and gathering celebration space, providing shade. So from that, then each of them came with their individual proposals saying how the artwork in one way or another connected to this, or how it within the space provided allowed these points to be accomplished. And so one artist went one way with monumental sculpture, right? And highlighted exactly your point of what the park is providing, and then the other stuck to a pretty, hitting all of the points pretty consistently through the artwork. And so, what you didn't see, but I'll show, of course, just so everyone is really very clear. So there's a gazing ball for this reflection in and out. There are the butterflies represented when she punches them out of the cladding, or her aluminum cladding, and then she welds them into the shapes, and then
That's like the ceiling inside the gazebo.
Inside,
So it's pierced ceiling to see the roof behind it. And there's all the butterflies and then cutout, and then the cutout butterflies are also on top.
so each of them did a significant amount of research and explained all of those pieces and parts within their presentations. So both of them did a significant amount of research into Guzman and that. So again, both.
Well, from the outside looking in, from what I just saw, I think the gazebo is gorgeous, it's beautiful, but that to me, with the podium, with the Longmont and the different colors, that speaks to me, Sister City, to me.
Well, and
Vibrant.
surely the other person who was from Sister Cities on the selection panel might feel the same way. I love what he's done with using Spanish and English on it, and as you say, the colorful.
Yeah, it just when I think of the exchange and I think of the students, I think of vibrancy, right? And I think that, to me, that speaks to me when I saw this. Because I didn't see anything else. I hadn't seen any other art or anything. This is my first time seeing this, and also the gazebo. But when I think of Sister Cities, I do love the imprint of the butterflies of the gazebo. I think that's pretty cool. It's very elegant, very beautiful. I don't know, I'm just giving my 2 cents. So,
Well,
you know.
and she's the liaison for Sister Cities also, so she comes to our board meetings and is aware of what we're doing with kids, so, that's a very good point.
So, oh yeah, go ahead, Laura.
I think in the gazebo, it just reminds me of Aladdin. I think of, like a magic carpet and Aladdin, and when I see that, it's, I don't think of it as Longmont. I don't think of it as a Spanish city either.
So I think just getting back to, I'm going to put my Angela listening to the city attorney hat back on. So the conversations regarding design, et cetera, creative, et cetera, have been had. So where we are in policy and procedure is very much at kind of a precipice of that you as the body can make a decision to have the selection panel reconvene and see these designs and make their recommendation, which then comes back through Susan and Cindy to this body again for the final selection panel vote on these redesigns. According to the city attorney's office, because we've gone through the selection panel process, this body now has the authority to make this decision, right? But what we're not doing is talking, again, about creative, et cetera, beyond. So you can do one of two things. You can someone make a motion to accept the recommendation as presented, which is actually on the table technically, or you could give the selection panel, you could just approve whatever the selection panel approves in advance, or they could come back to you in October. The only thing I caution about time is that, what is very clear, what's very clear, is that Sister Cities is having exchange next year and needs to have this work installed by July 1. So every 30 days that goes by is just 30 days into the future, right? So, yeah.
What's the material are they using on the very top for the goose? Is that like aluminum or just because I was just trying to picture it like in the original, because the original was like the metal cutout, right? And then
Aluminum sheet plate cladded high fire ceramic tile.
So he has done this kind of work before, right? It's the girl on the
yeah.
chorus, right?
Yeah.
He's very understanding and knowledgeable of the material that he's using.
Totally. No, that's great. I was just curious. I was just like trying to think, picture a little bit better.
But yes, mosaic, so very colorful and a lot of color, right? So the motion that's on the table right now, and I'll get you, Melanie, is that the task force for the selection panel is suggesting that we move forward with the alternate. So, according to our friend Robert, right? Someone can second that motion, or we can revise that motion, or we can remove that motion.
Invite the alternate and introduce it.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Okay. But Sue, do you have anything else to say?
Well, I don't vote.
You don't vote, no, that's right. Yeah, oh, Melanie,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I just, I wanted to give my 2 cents, I suppose. This is the first I've really seen a little bit more thoroughly of the projects as opposed to more of the sites at a higher level. And I really appreciate the task force explanation of it. I know just from my background with working with cities, going back to what the requirements are, what the ask was, I can see why the alternate sort of fits the description of what was asked initially and what was wanted initially. So I can certainly understand why the alternate is preferable. So I would feel comfortable.
Also, she had like something like 1,600 different colors she could do that. She presented it on this black background, which was a poor choice in my opinion, but the gazebo was sort of a dark blue, but we could ask her to do it any color.
That is true.
It could be turquoise or something, I mean, it could be any color.
Or
It's
monocolor orange or black.
It's powder coating, so it comes in pretty much every shade imaginable. And in fact, glossy and matte, right?
She presented that, but
She did. Okay.
Further discussions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. So all in favor of accepting the gazebo as the piece of art, please raise your hand. And anyone opposed? Please raise your hand. So the motion passes to accept the gazebo artwork for the Sister Cities project.
Okay. I will move forward with contract language and make sure, that both artists know that, again, they have to go through the city contract. And then hopefully we can get that inked by next month. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that when they had to do the modifications, that they got paid to do the modifications.
Excellent question. So, each of our artists were paid $1,500 for their proposals.
Okay.
And when we go back for modification, that is part of the proposal project. The way I explain it often is if you are going to use a carpenter to create a bench and you ask them, I need to see it, and you suddenly ask for them, you want to see screws rather than nails, right? It is within their qualification, within their ability to make certain adjustments, right? And this project specifically is a little unusual because the work presented was so far out of the original scope. It was not unfair to say, hey, guess what? We asked for apples and we got kumquats. We need to kind of get meet in the middle here, right? So that was a very fair ask. So no additional funds, but certainly paid fair wage for the work that was done. And my learning opportunity was making sure in the documentation of what is required for your proposal, we require every artist to go through structural engineering, right? So wind load, snow load, make sure it doesn't fall on anybody. The technical drawings are going to be due to that structural engineer at some point. We don't ask them to make that payment in advance, but those technical drawings, asking those as part of the proposal is completely legitimate, and we should have asked for that. So,
Did we mention anything about height requirements?
well, we sure do now. 7.5 feet is a magic number. Okay, very good. I know that was the bulk of our meeting. We're gonna go through the rest of it, but yeah, thank you. All right, and I will update sister cities. I'll send an email so they can expect to hear. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you. It's very interesting process.
All right, let's move on to the Spoke project update, which looks like the grand opening is Sunday from 3 to 6.
Oh, Monday. So Monday, the Spoke building itself, Boulder County Housing Authority is doing tours, etc. of the Spoke. And I don't know if you've driven by recently, but AJ is well underway. So you will see him up on his lift usually afternoon, and he goes quite into the evening, and he's completely on schedule because it's been so bloody hot. So
Yes.
no rain is good for him. Yeah. And he considered the composition and played with the different birds, and it looked really weird. It looked like they were attacking each other. So he's sticking with the original composition, but he is adding more hummingbirds. So yeah.
When are you anticipated to be done?
No later than the end of this month, but he built in contingency time for bad weather, and it's been hot, so
That's
he's
bad.
he's really moving.
I definitely want to see it before it's done.
Yeah, so
It's
go
like it's
yeah.
been really hot or rain, or
Right.
really hot or rain.
But yeah, he hasn't had bad weather, which is great.
Came out of nowhere, all of a sudden, I looked up today and I was like, whoa. Like, I meant to drive by and take pictures before I came, I totally forgot.
Yeah. And that's a heck of a lift. If you haven't seen him up there on that lift working, whoa. So we're the faint of heart. Let's just put it that way.
What is the grand opening?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
The Spoke, the
Yeah, I know.
actual building.
Oh, the building.
So we get to walk into people's apartments?
I think there's like a tour of like the building and its amenities, and probably about Boulder County Housing Authority's like offices. Probably not through personal residence, but I'm sure that they have like a,
center and stuff in there, from
Yeah.
my understanding. One of my coworkers lives there, but yeah, like they definitely are like pretty like community oriented in the whole building itself, so that would make the most sense if they were just showing you around what they would have to offer.
so, maybe we'll see what their boardroom looks like and take a field trip on it. I could ask. That'd be cool. Okay.
Shock art update.
The final box is being primed this weekend, and so shop art artists are all under contract and will be painting. Yep. Oh, and we did a tour of the one across the street, and when Kevin from LPC says, Satan's children, the hornets, wasps live right here, and they all came out like on cue. It was awesome. So I was like, so that's good, because I think that there's a lot of artists who are really gung-ho and getting underway and not letting me know that they're planning on painting. And he needs to go and bump on that thing so all the critters go away so no one gets hurt. And like, I don't think people believe him, so it was on cue. They just started coming out. It's like, you, they never even rose. Thank you. Anyway, so yeah, that's we're moving right along.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are we planning for next year now?
We can.
Okay. Is there, am I the only person on the task force, or are you still gonna be on the task force?
We're
Yes.
probably gonna have to reshape up task forces when because we're kind of coming to the end of the year's projects, and so when executive team meets in October as per AIPP guidelines, we'll have new projects, and we're gonna have to shake up task forces.
I'm just
anyway, but
hoping to
yes.
select boxes earlier next year.
Let's do it. I'll send Kevin a note, asking him to send us his rusty options. And I'll also send you the picture of the map that we had people sort of the ones they wanted to see. That one.
This is the one they sent, the new one for this year, which I separated into quadrants to make it easier.
Awesome.
And it's all up to date. I even updated the ones we're doing this year in pink. So I'm happy to send you copies of that.
Absolutely.
And as soon as these folks are done, we are redoing our pamphlets.
Yeah.
Because we're well over 50 now, so we need a new. Okay.
All right. Neighborhood improvement project, community mural. I believe this is the neighborhood basketball court project.
Yep.
Which was amazing.
Yes.
Pamela, you were there. a lot
Yes,
of
I
times.
was.
Susan, you were there a lot of the time. You guys want
Well, I just,
to explain?
I thought it went really well. The first day we had like 8 volunteers, which was okay, but by the third day, we had like at least 20, I think, people. And what was really fun is that there were a lot of children and that painted, and they were very excited about participating in it. And I mean, I had this one guy tell me that he felt really accomplished. I feel so accomplished now. And I have my boy tell me that he was sure he was artistic. I can tell I'm artistic. So it was just really fun. Although we did make the mistake the first day of like scheduling people through the afternoon. I showed up at 2 and he got heat stroke. When I got home.
Before you got there, it was very lonely.
It was
sad.
really.
Thank you for doing that. That was like the worst.
Didn't do much, but I guarded everything.
Yes.
Make sure that things didn't walk away so we can go have lunch with you.
But honestly, it was so hot on the concrete because I filled in the green, and it was hot. Yeah, so we decided just to do like till 12, till noon, which was really a good idea.
Is it finished there?
That I think has almost all the black lines. There's me with my cat.
And I noticed that Jennifer came back and filled in some lines, and like the sun's got smiley faces and stuff, so that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so all the way around, of course, there's added components, and then we'll do a seek and find. So how many cats do you see? How many kites are there? And she named it play-by-play for Kitely Park. So, yeah. So now it's just to see how that paint looks.
And there's not going to be any graffiti put in it?
Well, so I asked her nicely, so there's a dog on one of the places, and I said, okay, I need you to paint like a bunch of tennis balls. So she painted 5 feet of sidewalk, a bunch of tennis balls. So I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna graffiti coat one, and I'm gonna try and ruin one, and I'm gonna power wash one, and I'm gonna see how it looks. Because I talked to another artist who used that graffiti coating and was playing with it in a printing press, and said that the water just beads on it. But this paint is specifically made to have grit. If any of you didn't paint, like when you would when it started getting really hot and things were drying, like it was so viscous, you could grab it and it was like a ball of sandy goo.
Whoa.
So it's really something.
Yeah, and it's for,
What's that?
Is it in water?
We did, and when it was drying so fast,
Yeah.
but, so my hope,
it's a basketball court, so it needs the grit so that people can do basketball things.
yes.
But on the other hand,
So we're gonna,
Would graffiti, coating, make it slicker? Is that, you're not sure?
I think so. But I have been working with this manufacturer since January, and I asked exactly that, and they said, well, you shouldn't have to. And so, supposedly if we, get hit, when we get hit, frankly, it's colored by numbers, right? And we have extra paint already on hand, so we just go and take care of it. We're just gonna have to play with it, but again, kind of same thing as the box culvert under over, until we have our methodology really down. We'll just see how this goes. The next piece, of course, too, is seeing how it performs on asphalt.
Yeah. I took my friend over and showed it to him, and he just said, oh, I have to bring my granddaughter here.
Yeah.
And there was a family with 2 kids, and the one kid was learning how to ride a bike, and they were just going, oh, I like that bird, and I like that fish, and so it's been very well received. I mean, it really has.
Did you end up doing anything with the poles, because I didn't notice something?
She did. She put the paint on the poles, and the paint doesn't hold on steel. So I think she went and got acrylic and used acrylic.
I saw stripes.
Anyway, so I would say all in all,
Yes.
success.
Awesome.
Good job. Oh, good job.
All right, moving on, murals.
next time we do one of these community paints, we should.
That was the other thing that came up was when someone applies, we need to have a decompression meeting with Wayne Tomac from Community Neighborhood Services. But really, if the grant actually, like, Art in Public Places funds the artwork, and the community brings the food and the people and brings the community, and the work. One of the things that I think we could have done more successfully too is we could pay for the flyer aspect or door hangers, but then have the people in the community who applied for the grant go door to door, meet your neighbors, and tell them about it, right? Since we know how to do this, we'll bring our expertise in that way, but have the community, because that's what it is. It's community building first, and some marketing, right? But yeah, band, food, all of those kinds of things.
I'm totally into
Yeah.
it. That would help a lot.
Get people there to experience their park and help paint it and whatever.
Speaking from a neighborhood who has joined NGLA, and I'm not on the board of my homeowners association, but I'm on the communications committee, it is so hard to get community participation.
Oh, I know.
I've tried for months and crickets. They don't even go to the meetings, so it's really, really difficult.
Which begs the question, then, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Yes, we should be working with Wayne, and yes, NGLA is absolutely something that exists and is a method, but what about the other communities who would value this kind of experience? And that's the hard part, like, we have to find that middle ground where we can bring this same thing to others as well. So this is established, and it's great because, it covers a lot of the things that we haven't done, but I think finding that alternate methodology to getting to the same result in other communities is going to be something that we can do.
Sweet. Ninth and Alpine.
All right, so I took all of the comments that were said last month. I met, Danielle, you were there. Who else was there? Oh, Jennifer, thank you, Jennifer, sorry about that. We met with Carmen Ramirez, Wayne Tomac about bilingual and in fact even multilingual, similar messaging in the box culvert. And I think general consensus, and Jane, just interrupt me if I miss that, is absolutely makes sense. And the entire box culvert needs addressed. That said, the contract that we are under with this artist now is the contract that we are under with this artist now. So it is preferred by the artist, and I would think the task force as well, I don't want to speak for you, that we continue and move forward with the English translation on the one side of the box culvert. I will pull up pictures here in a minute. And then I have a number for you for the rest of it. Longmont Wall 2, and this is not a contract I have drafted. This would be, I have to develop the scope of work, rewrite the contract, get the artist to sign the new contract. Does that make sense? Everybody knows what I'm talking about? Okay. Supplies, lodging and transport, new design, and mural execution with community participation of a total of $19,444. 19,444 bucks. So, and that is to say that is the completion of the rest of the box culvert. Yes, Danielle.
How much did we pay the first time?
He gave us the maintenance discount, so he got paid 10 something for the original, and that was before my time. And then this is an addendum to his original contract, right? So it falls under a maintenance and remediation line. This is, what we're talking about now is a completely new contract to address the second side of the box culvert. It also, in both of these instances, does not include the graffiti coating. That is on us for both application and the supplies, which is very fair, I would say. Okay, let's look at some pictures.
Okay, so
Yes, go ahead.
just to clarify one more time. We paid him $10,000 approximately for the original thing before any of us.
Yes. And that was years and years and years ago, so.
Right, a few years ago. And then the next, so he's under contract for 1.5 of it, right?
Correct.
And then the second half will be the 19,444.
Right, because the first contract was for remediation.
That's right.
So let's look at what makes us cry, right?
Oh, it was even worse than that.
Oh yeah, this is actually when it wasn't bad, right? So at some point, there was still some things left. So the original contract was, none of this had been damaged at that, right? But then so then we went under contract for him to remediate, and that's the dollar figure that we're looking at now.
I'm confused. So this is the third contract we've had with it?
No, we're proposing the third.
Yeah.
Proposing the third.
Yes.
We're
Correct.
proposing the third one?
Yes,
How much for the very first mural?
like 10 something like that. And again, if you're thinking about value, just take that and throw it away.
Okay.
Just throw it away, because that artist was in that place at that time with his qualifications at that point, with his portfolio at that time, right? And then when it got damaged, then we are paying him for the addendum portion of this contract, which is the remediation, the fix, okay? That's what we're under contract now. That's what we need to execute in October.
On the first side.
Right. I don't know why I don't have the images of where is our piece this. Oh, no, that's how much you paint it blue. Because this is what it looks like now, except when the guy going graffiti on top of it, and then the graffiti guy goes in and paints it blue again, right? So the more and more and more, and the longer we wait, the bigger problems that we have, right?
Right,
We
because
just
we can't
need
coat
to-
it before it gets painted.
Correct.
Okay.
Because you can't put the coating on and then take the coating off and then paint it and then putting the coating on. solution at this point in time is to continue to paint it blue rather than the, you know, ugly gray boxes there, right? Yeah, it's real, it's real.
It's still gonna be cheaper to use, and I mean that in like the best term possible. Cheaper to basically use him to finish off the job of of that whole area than seeking out another artist.
I forgot what really important part of this one.
Okay.
So yes,
Or
so
is
that would
a
be,
possibility?
he is spearheading the second portion and working with, and he said, our artist friend who is in town, who everyone loves, right?
Right.
He's going to subcontract
Cool.
whatever other artist needs to be brought into this situation, because his artwork is on both sides of that box culvert. So when you come into that box culvert, it's his work, right? It's his painting. And we're not getting rid, I don't know why, we're not getting rid of the elk, we're not getting rid of the,
Duck or whatever.
So using another artist either way to finish the work really wouldn't even be a possibility, basically.
If we do, then we are talking about getting rid of the elk, getting rid of.
Yeah,
He
that's my
might-
thought. And like basically, yeah, we would have to like completely redo with all of his work then at that rate and restart from ground one.
So here's that, right? But Longmont Together now is not on both sides in English, right? Longmont Together is on one side in English, left to right, into out. And then the other side stays blue until new design comes your way. Word cloud, Longmont United in, you know, other languages, bringing in another artist or artists to lend their voice and opinion, getting community feedback of what that looks like, basically starting from the new design phase of this whole thing, and likely with some sort of messaging on that other side of the wall with dates that says, a new design is underway. This is when we're meeting to look at the design. This is when we're planning on doing the community paint come spring. Because it's a box culvert, it gets really cold, and so not only does the paint adhesion temperature matter, but the box culvert stays really cold. So it can't even be like March, it's gonna be like May, right? Just that.
So we need to put some kind of signs up that say,
Mm-hmm.
coming soon,
Coming
to this
soon.
spot near you.
Yep, to this spot. Hey, you wanna participate?
Yeah, you want
Here's
to
how
be,
you
you
participate.
want to be a decision maker?
Right. So in this meeting today, two things need to happen. Number one, I need the thumbs up that I can pull the trigger on the postcards that are designed to get people to sign up for October, because that needed to happen yesterday, right? But that means moving forward with the contract that we have under wraps, knowing that if you as a commission want to move forward with another side, this is the amount of money you're talking about. Working with this artist to do X, Y, Z. And to Danielle's point, if we deviate and go with a different artist from the other side, this artist
Yeah,
may have
that's-
something to
that's-
say about the in and out, right?
So what you're looking for is a motion to accept the artist's price to do the second wall sometime next year.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
for
In
us
the
to
spring.
In the spring, and for us to start
That process.
moving on that project, on that
That's
new
Danielle and Jennifer on the task force. Yeah, go ahead, Pam.
I just wanted to say that, you know, this really is a very large space.
It's huge.
I mean, it really is huge. So when you're thinking about the amount of labor and putting it together and painting it, you know, $19,000 is kind of in the river is what I'm thinking. I don't think that's.
Plus he's paying other people to help him,
Right,
so
right.
I think it's a very reasonable number.
Yeah, I mean, because that's really a big space.
It is.
So
You're-
that's my only comment.
Your spoke is a $40,000 project and is less square footage than this.
Yes, exactly.
So he's being very generous. He's being very generous. But he wants to see this done right too.
Yes.
but also it's not personal business, right? So we have to grab our cards.
Any more questions or discussion?
Did I make that motion? I so move?
I second that motion.
All right.
Can we just make it an even 20?
Sure.
Just for an easy motion?
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, obviously I have to go under contract, but.
All right, raise your hand if you approve the motion. Thank you, and raise your hand if you do not. Okay, all approved.
Thank you very much.
And do we need to sign up for the community painting or the coordination of the community painting?
Oh, buddies, y'all better have your volunteer hats on because we are going to be checking people in, we're gonna be checking people out. It's gonna need to be a fairly coordinated effort, so Kitely, plus, right?
Are we gonna do anything, send any messages to the school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because that would be nice.
We can get them to sign up, but it's too short of a turnaround for doing like a very concentrated effort of have your, school art class come and sign up because that requires our magical and what is it?
Oh, IGA.
So we can ask the teacher to ask
Yep.
their students, if you want to do this, please sign up.
Yeah.
here.
Yep, here's flyers, hand them out to all your kids in class, here's QR code, sign up here, yep. Absolutely, will do. All right, so keep an eye out for that volunteer, bit. And, yeah, okay.
Gather the people, table.
He sent me a note, said he didn't forget about me, so that's good. Keen Excavating, who is the citywide award,
So they have to do some that.
breaking this down. He hasn't, but he said he didn't forget about me, so.
Do you mean silos for painting those?
Dan Walford, who is the natural resources person, is retiring. So that's not a problem. It just means that I have to make new friends over there to learn about bank swallows and their migration times because we can't paint when they're nesting. But it's all good. Just keep working on it.
Probably gonna be in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not assuming, but it seems like most of these birds nest and raise their eggs in the spring.
Right. So if we had a project and they nest in the spring, like when do they leave?
Yeah.
Can we make it a fall project?
How fast
Because
do these birds fledge out of their nest?
yeah, but it actually is a fairly considerable concern, and of course, we're still at that moment of figuring out the paint or stucco or vinyl wrap. Anyway, I'm still working on it, but we'll be talking about it in executive because we have to prioritize this project.
New business?
December 15th, didn't know if we want to meet somewhere and do holiday excitement, or if we wanted to wait until after the holidays to celebrate, or, or if we want to keep our December meeting. So I just leave it on there because sometimes you cancel it, sometimes you don't.
I think we should leave this to the executive committee, because I don't know what we're gonna have on the agenda. If there's something that we really need to meet about, we should meet.
Okay.
What if
I don't mind to do the party before. We can have a party on another day.
What if we did the party and meeting on the same day?
Can't do
In here, and bring food and have a meeting and eat and kill two birds with one stone. And people are busy, it's December.
Sure.
We could make it a very short agenda with only
Yeah.
things that are like
But
absolutely necessary.
and enjoy.
Okay.
Think about it. We're not voting.
Well,
No, we just need to, we just need to decide, especially if we're canceling it, then I need to put it on the calendar. But if we're keeping it and we're just making it a party, thumbs up.
I'd like to also propose, having maybe a lunch in the private room over there at the cheese factory, which we did with friends of the Longmont Museum, about this size, 10 people or whatever, was lovely.
We can do
The
that.
cheese and quarters upstairs, private room.
So mind you,
Restaurant.
mind you that the way that commission dollars work is all of the food that is provided has to be open to the public at all times. So anytime, so we can't, we can't throw parties for ourselves or other people. For example, if we do an art dedication, it's for everyone.
Right.
So we can't, while we can do something like that, it would kind of be a BYO, D&B, and, you know, all
But if we do it here in the meeting setting, it's public already
Correct.
invited, so.
the, and we would do potluck and everyone can bring something for everyone.
Or could we bring cater some stuff in?
As long as it's open to the public. it's fine.
Yeah, the meeting's already open.
Yep.
So I think, I'll recommend that we have the meetings, we have food, we can decide on if we wanna bring in something from Cheese and Porters or somewhere else. And people could also bring potluck, and we still have a small agenda. So it's good.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Hey,
There we go.
Great.
Start thinking of things to bring.
Yeah.
Who seconded? Motion passes, I guess. Anyone disagree? Okay. Motion passes. Concrete on Fourth.
okay, so last but not least, and forgive me, I don't have, that finished, treasure report for you today, but that's okay. You'll recall that some time ago, there was discussion of potentially St. Peter's being remediated, and I don't, what did I say? Oh, it's St. Peter's. I just, I'm a Grateful Dead. I don't know, that's St. Stephen's too. St. Stephen's to be remediated, and one of the reasons that we didn't move forward with Art on the Move is because if St. Stephen's goes, then those plinths are going to go with them, and we will end up reboring in some amount of time.
So wait, I knew the fountain was one way, what else is that?
There have been looks at a larger project, without talking to LDDA about where they are in their funding and how much that came back with. Don't know if they're phasing it out or whatnot. The other thing we had talked about with Art on the Move is twofold. Number one, kind of aligning more with the other rental projects that are like this, so we're installing at the same time as others. And also the two-dimensional artwork that's going to be here in the museum as well as in the court, Safety and Justice Center, right? So if those, if we lose places to mount artwork in St. Stephen's, one of the places that had been considered is here along 4th Street, and the reason why is you'll see this tree, and then you're gonna see a whole lot of nothing. And the reason is because they're all dead. And so there's tree grades like here and here and here.
That's Maine there.
And this is Maine on the left, and then there's an alley, and then it's blank, and whoops, I don't know if I can. Anyway,
Is
so
that Ziggy's?
No, Ziggy's.
Ziggy's is,
We're looking south.
you're looking south, yes, sorry. Is that, okay, so.
This is the west
Okay,
side.
so this is the west side,
Okay.
so there's Ziggy's. So now we're looking south.
That's the pawn shop. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're looking south. Anywho, so this is very bare.
Yes.
And there are 5 tree grades that are just perfectly curved, and pour plinths all along 4th Street and have a walk. I bid out estimates through citywide contractors, and it's anywhere between $15,000 and $18,000.
Total for, what'd you say, 5, 6, 4?
So, there's one right in front of Firehouse. We have the funds to be able to do it, and this, I wish I could show you. So this kind of brick area is looking pretty good, the pavers look good. Eventually, and someday, they'll probably have to re-pour the sidewalk, but this is staying where it is. The other thing that's happening along here is tracks, which that guy is like standing on, he's like looking at it right there. This is Kaufman Street, right? So Kaufman's about in some amount of time to get all torn up for our TV business, right? So it's a good spot, very visible, and it would give us more locations because, as you will recall, we're hoping that all of our changes for our charter are gonna get changed for next fiscal year. So we'll have the ability to put in more temporary parks. So we could use all 5 of them, or we could use 3 of them at a time and put them in other places around town. Just gives us more opportunity.
I was just gonna say, we do have spots around town that we have put.
We have
Art
freestyle
and
spots.
Yep.
There's a spot right behind that corner.
Yep. So it's not that it's going away, we would just be adding more. And it would look very intentional.
Look at this.
Yes, and firehouse is right there.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So everything would have to fit on top of it would all be sculpture, or that's just gonna be able to fit on top of
Yes, it would,
Okay.
we're talking about, yeah, the
Oh, they're only gonna be
new
that-
plinths.
they're just gonna be low.
Yeah, they're just new pedestal plinths.
Okay.
So then,
With screws or something.
it would be, so that's what I would also, you know, if we're investing in doing this, something that's standardized.
Yeah.
Right, so then when the sculptures come about, you know, we put the little mounting thing on and then it mounts to that and then we take it off to keep them in nice shape. Because I don't know if you've seen the one in St. Stephen's recently, but they've seen, you know, 15 years of the program.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And
All
I'm
around,
sorry.
all around the church.
The church is staying.
Yes, yeah, this is the plaza to the south.
How much did you say that bidding was, or the estimate was?
I've got 2 bids back between 15 and 18,000. And I'm waiting on my 3rd because I have to bid out 3.
And that's the ones on 4th?
Just the ones on
Oh,
4th.
not the one,
Nope,
not,
5 along 4th.
then what would this also do?
And that's in the tree breaks, or what? used to
Yes,
be
where
tree
the
breaks.
existing curbs are, so
Yeah.
there it is. If they're gonna fix that, make it look nice and make it look super intentional. And again, you can imagine that there's ugly
Okay,
as
so-
they are right now. And that also includes digging out the tree, digging out the root, you know, the whole bit of it.
But this was just an example.
This is one of the 5.
Oh.
So these go
Oh,
all
right,
down
Oh,
this
yeah,
street.
you're right.
There's actually a tree there. That tree may or may not be there anymore. It might be that one, that one. Like, look at those dead trees. So all these trees are dead and gone. And there's just these,
So just like my preference would be to like maybe alternate a plinth, a tree, a plinth, a tree. Cause it seems a little bit stark to me to just have like 5 sculptures, boom, 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 boom. And maybe have, could, like the other side of the street or around the corner or something. I love the idea
Yes.
that it's to going to the firehouse because that's kind of like the center for art, you know, art walk stuff. But is there?
so what
Does
is
the city forester?
yes, that's what I was just gonna say. So we have to work around what their plans are. This would not be instead of a tree. These are places that,
Oh,
yeah, no, the dead tree is cut off, it's in the ground and nothing's going back there.
no, they've decided no trees going.
Yep.
And you were gonna tell, the other side of the street doesn't look like it has.
No, it's not on the other side of the street, it's just, see, look at how nice those ones are. Versus, yeah. So anywho, this, again, coming up with through Kimberly and talking about where St. Stephen's is, where it is going, and thinking about keeping art on the move downtown, knowing that there's a very, very, very good chance that we're going to have more funds for temporary work. But if St. Stephen's isn't there, we're going to be very much downtown.
If, after St. Stephen's is
Yeah.
redone, and if we have places to put art there.
Yeah.
Will that make this weird if we only have like one thing there one year and 3 things at St. Stephen's?
You may start to conceive of actually purchasing things coming out of Art on the Move and curate that art walk and actually install art there and leave it there.
Art on the move walk.
Or, you know,
Things
if
that are very
you
popular.
want to start looking at direct purchases by all going to the sculpture show next August and looking at, you know, art that can be purchased directly, I mean, that's a part of of the way the art program can work, right?
But also, I don't think it'll look weird.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's really just gonna be, you know, like kind of a step. So if there's nothing on it, it's not gonna be obtrusive.
It'll look better than it looks now, I'll tell you that.
Because I live to complicate my life. Could some be round and some be square and some be?
No, you're not gonna do that to me, lady.
Do we need to vote on anything from us?
What's up?
What do you need from us at this point?
Yeah, it would be, so, our budget can hold it this fiscal year, but to pour concrete, a certain temperature needs to be, we need to stay within a certain temperature, so, yeah, I would love a permission to, or if you agree to build new plinths, to go forward with it, as long as it stays under some threshold. I think under 20,000 is completely reasonable.
I make a motion that we go ahead and put in 5 plinths, with a max of 20,000 for that fee. So Teresa, motion. I say a lot of people second.
Yeah.
No, Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Fantastic. Great. Setting ourselves up, and I think with that,
We have a commissioner's comments.
Commissioner Smith.
I would like to say, did anybody see the great Art in Public Places little blurb in the newspaper magazine? It showed our rejuvenation project and the lady and the damsel and a great quote by Angela.
Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we like Matt. He left the leader and now he's with Boulder Weekly, and it's called Inside Longmont, and it's actually, they do it once a year, so those magazines will be up and around for a year.
You have one?
It is Angela.
I have one upstairs.
I signed up at, on the way out, you know, one of those racks, so when you go to a restaurant, one of those racks in the floor.
Tangerine. I'll try and get
It's the Boulder Weekly, and one side it's inside Boulder, and the other side it's inside Longmont, you know, it's one of those things.
And the inside long one has Gamma's Generations mural on the front.
Okay, Jeff?
I just, at the risk of going down some rabbit holes, I just had a couple of things I wanted to ask about. Asking for a quick answer if possible. Did anything get damaged at the St. Stephen's Plaza of our art program?
Luckily, no.
Oh, thank you God. Okay,
Yes.
we're so grateful. All right. Now, I don't know what is happening with this, or maybe Shakita knows more or something, but is there any talk of any kind of memorial in Kensington Park?
Yes.
And would we be somehow involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Without going again too far down a hole, Carmen Ramirez actually and her partner came to paint at Kitely, and she asked that any remediation that we're doing on the Unity project wait. The family has been looking into some certain sort of memorial, but is now working with Harold and the city on doing something more celebratory. They will be coming to us. We will be involved, and that will be quick and will probably be our #1 priority.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Because I live right near there.
Yeah.
And actually, the other, someday recently, like yesterday, maybe, I was walking by there, and a bunch of city trucks and guys were out there, and they were all like looking up and looking down. They were all like looking, because usually I stop and ask, what are they doing? They were looking to see where they're gonna put cameras, and also the arborist was there checking the trees. So, but, you know, things are happening, I know that they're happening, but anyway, okay.
Yep.
All right, what is the status of the big bear? Is it still in its box?
Yep.
Okay. End of comments for me.
read our sign?
No.
It's very cute.
I'm hibernating.
No, he's in good shape, and the registrar goes over there fairly recent or regularly to make sure that there's no moisture building up on the inside, because we don't want to create a microclimate, basically. But no, he's fine, and that new building owner, we're really lucky to have him in town.
Okay, good.
All the other municipalities were very intrigued by that. That's why.
But that is their sign.
That's all. Yeah, like, is that really a bear?
Yes,
Yeah.
there's really a banner.
You're right.
I was down by Whitby yesterday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday. And I was taking a picture of the shop art we did last year there, and across the street is the, what is it, Gamma painting.
Yeah.
It's being demolished as we speak.
Yep.
It might even be gone.
It's
I
gone.
followed him on Instagram, and he had a lot of video feed of it going on. And
I noticed in the silo there with the bluebird, that he painted rust colored lines on it, like, silos on it.
Was a caged
it was
bird.
a cage bird, it was awesome. His
Yeah.
brain
Yeah.
is amazing.
Right.
Wait.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Anybody second that motion? Motion. Everybody seconds.